Hello, it's Glenn Hairston, and here with another Tai Chi talk. Today I'd like to discuss Tai Chi applications. Many people ask, how can Tai Chi be used in a fighting situation when Tai Chi states it does not use speed or strength in order to subdue an opponent? Well, the basis of Tai Chi is it utilizes opportunity. If you use strength or speed, and if someone's faster and stronger than you and better shape and so forth, then evidently they're going to have the advantage over you. So if you try to compete with them against what is their strengths and you fight their fight, evidently it's probably not going to fare very well for you. But Tai Chi is based on opportunity, and what is meant by that is basically we allow the opponent to become complicit in their own demise, meaning that through their aggression we train to take advantage of their aggression, and the way we do that is by utilizing the Tai Chi principles of yielding, neutralizing, sticking, adhering, following, and eventually issuing, which means many things. It can mean striking, kicking, pushing, takedown, any number of things, and many things. However, that is easier said than done. And in order to compete against someone who is much stronger and faster than you are, you must go through many stages of training for a pretty long or extended period of time in order to condition yourself to be able to deal with those sort of things, to not have this reflex of resisting or trying to hold your ground, or getting hard, and or trying to strike like they do and grapple with physical strength or beat them to the punch. And that is why Tai Chi has many categories to the training it has, as Tai Chi form is only the initial area of training, which is to introduce you to the basics of Tai Chi and also to introduce you to yourself. In other words, finding your balance, finding the right way to step, how to stay relaxed, which is the first lesson in Tai Chi, is to relax. But although it's the first lesson, it takes many years to properly relax and not become tense under stressful situations, to maintain that relaxed pliability that you need to keep someone from actually being able to take control over you once they place their hands on you. So the initial stages are learning like the basic Qigong exercises, which help in strengthening you, keeping you relaxed and calm. Also moving into the form and learning everything that the form has. It's your introduction to the basic Tai Chi movements. Of course, you can't fight with the postures as they are represented in the form, because they only represent or representative of fighting. They undergo a dramatic metamorphosis as you get closer to being able to utilize them, and that's where push hands comes into play. That's your introduction to dealing with outside forces. When you're working with the form, you're only working with your own energy. There's nothing destabilizing you except for yourself if you fall off balance and as you're developing. But when you're working with someone else, they're not cooperating with you per se, and you have to learn how to accept and redirect their energy and control them, utilizing the prescribed manners in the Tai Chi principles and concepts. So there are many forms of push hands. You start off with some basic fixed step push hands, which incorporates fixed step single push hands on a playing circle, fixed step double push hands on a playing circle, single fixed step push hands on what is known as a metric circle or a diagonal circle. The same thing with fixed step double push hands. And there's various versions of all of those, and each one is designed to develop different skill sets in you. Some are teaching you more about the proper usage of ward off, or the proper usage of roll back, or the proper usage of push, press, and so forth. So there's many stages of push hands with moving steps, and there's of course, I'm speaking of the patternized push hands, where two people are basically cooperating by moving in the same circle. After that, there's what they call the moving steps push hands, where you utilize the Tai Chi footwork, and the purpose for that is to be able to execute the principles while on the move instead of standing still. It's time to advance your skill set, and also how to position yourself for fighting, relative positioning, strategic positioning, strategic stepping in dealing with forces coming at you, and while you issue your force, because you just don't stand in one spot when you're fighting. You're trying to deal with oncoming forces, perhaps maybe even deal with more than one aggressor. So these things are important, and you gradually move away from the patternized movements and into what's known as the freestyle push hands, which is what most people want to go directly into, but it's almost impossible to do that successfully if you have not properly learned the elements that go into push hands, such as how to properly ward off, roll back, press, push. So if you go directly into freestyle push hands and you have not gone through these other levels, you're going to have many deficiencies, and your push hands will turn into basically a shoving match, where shoving somebody or pushing somebody or moving them becomes the goal, and not utilizing the proper principles in Tai Chi methodology. And from there, you generally graduate into what's known as Dalu, or what's called the corner hands, because Tai Chi, we know, is circular. Everything is a circle. However, Dalu goes into what's known as the corner hands, or the square. It's the square within the circle. And those are things like pull down and split, shoulder stroke, and elbow strike. These are the other necessary functions for actually fighting. It's really, Dalu is basically a recovery system. The concept is to stay within the environment of a circle. That way it's you're like a ball or a sphere, where when something comes in, you can just redirect it very easy, utilizing the spherical movements. But since none of us are perfect, from time to time you will be pulled out of or knocked out of the circular movement, and in order to recover, you will use a square movement or a corner movement. So if I'm doing let's say a push, for instance, and my opponent blocks or wards off and pulls me, and I overextend beyond my center, instead of falling, I may fall forward into him or lean into him with a shoulder stroke and strike him, which allows me to recover and go back into a circular movement. So the purpose of the corner hands, it's a recovery system that allows you to go back into the circular movement, and the corner hands are also where you're going to find most of your powerful striking movements. And of course, Tai Chi also has the various weapons that are not usually spoken about very often, staff and sword and so forth. There's various weapons training, and that's to extend your skill of sensitivity throughout the weapon, as opposed to just using your hands. You pick up a weapon and you should be able to use the weapon like you can your hand. So, and there's even more training methods that Tai Chi has to offer. However, you don't, for the most part, get to see or hear about those. Most people are content with doing the form every day, and sometimes people will believe that if they do the form constantly every day, that they will derive every skill that they need from doing that. And that's sort of like a boxer thinking that they're going to derive every skill they need from shadow boxing, because that's basically what the form is a form of shadow boxing. But until you actually get into the ring and get hit and have to maneuver against someone who's trying to cut the ring off on you and throwing strikes from all kind of angles, you're very limited in your knowledge on how to apply your method just from shadow boxing as it is with doing the form. So all of these training methods and more, they all have something specifically to grow your Tai Chi, because the purpose is moving towards application. Everything is geared one step at a time. They're all building blocks going towards application. And even in terms of enjoying the health benefits that you get from understanding the application will help you to gain better health benefits, because in order to apply Tai Chi, your posture has to change. You have to have a better root, understand the alignment of all of your body to use your joints correctly and so forth. And that's truly where the health benefits come from, is being properly aligned. The better aligned you are, the more difficult the movements become. There's many subtleties to Tai Chi Chuan, to push hands, and even in the form. You can, as you train your form will change over the years as you begin to understand more about application. So with this in mind, keep in mind that the form is not the only thing there is, and push hands has many layers to it. And it's not just a matter of shoving people around, but it's learning how to apply all of the elements of Tai Chi to make them work against someone who's not being compliant with you. And in that way, you don't feel the need to try to compete with someone using force and speed. If you want to do that, there are far better arts to study that will give you the skills to be able to compete on that level. So thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time with Tai Chi Talk.